On today's episode,
Upgrade.
what's up, nerds? Working today on the Crispy Crunchy DX7. You may remember this from the previous video where I got it from a seller who said it apparently had been in a house fire, and it sure smelled like it. Also, the case had degraded, well, the padding, and that crumbled up case foam got everywhere. We got everything cleaned off and back up and running and sounding beautifully. Also, I've been playing around with this guy here. It's an MXR stereo chorus. Since the DX7 really has one usable audio output, I mean, it's got headphone outputs, but it's not true stereo. I think it's just the same channel on each side. But this can kind of play around with it and get some really cool sounds, especially on the electric pianos. It really brightens them up and fills them out. But today, we're going to upgrade this guy, bring it into the late 20th century, I guess. First up, it's a package from France. It is the SuperMax, and actually it would be in wrapper. It's the SuperMax upgrade, which gives it a buttload of features. I mean, it apparently fixes some shortcomings the DX7 has with MIDI, and expands the internal memory storage. And I think it also has like patch morphing and arpeggiation and all kinds of goodies. I think we'll see. I didn't really do much in-depth research. I just saw it as an upgrade and I got it. And it was kind of hard to find. There are no real sellers in the United States selling these. So you had to get from Europe, and it took a little while to get here, and shipping was crazy expensive. Whatever. Also, we're going to upgrade the screen from the old dull LED to an OLED. And I hope it works. I got it from AliExpress. Never bought anything from them. Never did really trust it. I see a lot of guys that, on YouTube that buy stuff. Nobody I know of personally has used AliExpress. But just got a grain of thought. It's cheap for a reason, but it was either $25 for this, or there's a seller in Germany that basically sells this with a connector already on it for like $75. Oh, and shipping's another $50, I think. So, we're going to go with AliExpress. I'm surprised it came in within a month, and I'll be even more surprised if it works right off the bat. So, we're going to pop the hood on this baby and get started on seeing if we can get this guy a nice little overhaul. Fortunately, and what I love about this keyboard, you only have 4 screws in the corners up there to pop that lid off to work on it. When I worked on my Roland D50, that's a nightmare. Roland keyboards, you have to disassemble so many different size screws just to get inside of it. Yamaha, 4 screws, lid pops open, you're good to go. God bless them. All right, let's get started. All right, we got the hood open. I keep forgetting about that one little screw behind the deck. So 2 screws up there, 2 screws up there, and one little guy in the back. Flips open, easy access. And here are the chips we need to remove. It's this IC14, IC21, IC20. I see 3 chips we have to remove. Get it? Anyway, we also now need to remove the key bed and this little metal shield because there's just not enough room to get this guy out. So once we get the key bed out and this metal shield, we'll be able to easily remove the chips. I say that, fingers crossed. Set the new board in there and reassemble everything. The key bed is almost just as easy as the rest of this keyboard synthesizer to take apart. 2 screws right there, 1 there, 4 underneath, and then lifts right out. So let's get this removed, and also this metal shield. I think there's like 2 screws holding this guy in. So let's get it stripped down a little bit more. You know, I should really be using an IC puller, but I don't have one. So I'm going to use a little flat blade, kind of pry them up, just being really careful to do so. You want to get each side just a little bit, and try not to bend these little components any more than you have to. A little bit each time. You don't want to do one side all at once. Two. And okay, all 3 are removed. Let's get that board in. Okay, installing the board is pretty straightforward. On the back, you just pull off the anti-static. I hope it's anti-static. Doesn't look like it. Anti-static is usually pink, but I think these are just to protect the pins. Either way, I'm going to use these to protect the old chips. Hang on to those. So it's pretty straightforward. This goes into your IC14, the 21, I think, and 20. Yeah, I got it right that time. How about that? So let's see. And you can hear our dogs going nuts in the background. So let's see. It kind of slides up. Make sure you want to get these pins straight. I might get my big head in the way real quick, but let me get other side of the camera so I can see. And I'm going to need some additional light because I want to make sure I get the pins in correct.
Aziz, light! Much better, thank you, Aziz.
Okay, let's see if we can get this in here. It looks like it's lining up. Hopefully it's lining up. There it is. Just want to make sure it sits in nice and snug. Try and check the alignment on this side. And I can't see anything, but it feels like it's going in. Looks like it's sticking out just a little bit. Hang tight. Let me double check everything. I'll pull the board out and I'll make sure. Okay, I guess it's in as far as it'll go. It's still sitting up a little high, but there's nothing blocking it. And hopefully these pins, actually, I know these pins I can see are in there nice. These pins are a little bit more exposed, but they're not going in any further, but they're not getting hung up on anything either. So let me pick this stuff up, get the keyboard just kind of set in there temporarily, and we'll power it on before I secure everything down, just to make sure that the board works and we have it all correctly seated. Okay, let's get this deck closed. Get this thing plugged in. And moment of truth, it should come up with a SuperMax logo, maybe, hopefully. Keep every appendage you've got crossed. Oh, I have to turn on my main power switch. SuperMax, we are in business. All right, let's see. Am I getting volume? Turn on my speakers. Make sure I'm getting sound out of this. And I probably, oh no, I unhooked my chorus. Output. Oh, that's pretty. I don't know if you can hear it very clearly. I'll turn this up. Okay. Well, oh, that's nice. Okay. So, oh, now it won't stop. I guess it's latched. That's pretty cool. Okay. So, now that we know that the SuperMax is working, let's go ahead and put everything the keyboard wise, because now we're going to upgrade the display to an OLED one. And yeah, we're going to see what happens. So hang tight. We'll get this back together and I'll remove this guy. We have a bit of an issue here. Even though everything is up and running, I am getting no sound whatsoever. I even tried using another MIDI controller. Well, a little bit of the mystery solved. When I was removing all the key bed and a little plate there, I noticed this guy here somehow got unplugged, and that is the connector that sends, I think, the keyboard data to the CPU, according to the AI chat GPT. You know, when I put it in there, that's what it came back with. So that's why I wasn't getting any sound or anything. But my internal memory also got wiped out. I put in a cartridge, it works fine out the cartridge. So I know the key bed, the whole keyboard is functional. I just have to reload the internal memory. I did a battery check and it showed 2.8 volts, which isn't bad, but it's not great. It's on the lower end of the acceptable levels. So while I have it open, we're just going to replace it, have it. Well, let's see if I can move it over a little bit. One of the mods I did was put a little temporary holder right there. We'll just pop in a new one and then we'll reload the sounds in. Make sure it's functional again, with the factory chips and things like this. And then I'll try reinstalling the expansion board. So, okay, slightly back on track, minor derail. Let's get this thing going. When I had this retaining bar out and into the light, I could see there's a lot of funkiness and corrosion on it that I never really noticed before. So while it's out, I'm going to take it outside, hit it with the Scotch-Brite pad, maybe put a coat of, clear polyurethane or something on it just to have it pretty. I mean, nobody will ever see it, but this will prevent any, further damage due to rust and corrosion like that little thing right there. And yeah, it just looks ugly. The backside, is nice. So it's just the top. I'm going to take care of this while it's out. Okay. The key bed is secured down. I still have the deck open so we can still get to everything. Let's power it up and see. Hopefully it works. Look for the display. SuperMax. Yes. It boots. Go to sound. Internal voice 1. So we got sound. Oh yeah, we got sound. Nice. A lot of really cool detuned noises so far. There's a little arpeggiation action going. Very rich sounding. Okay. I guess I have to download the manual eventually, learn how to get to the different banks and all the functions on it. So we'll do that a little bit later on in the video. But next, we really need to work on getting this more readable. So I ordered this. It's an OLED, supposedly, display from AliExpress. Uh, I'm not getting my hopes up. I hope it works. I mean, at least I got it, and I got it within like a month. And yeah, I mean, I've never ordered anything because it always sounded kind of shady. You know, it's like Wish or Timu. I kind of always threw AliExpress in that same pile. So but they were a lot cheaper than the other options. And yeah, so what we're gonna have to do? Let me power this down. Pop the hood. Gonna have to come on, cooperate with me, tripod. There we go. We're gonna have to remove this bracket here. This is the assembly we need to get to. And it's supposed to fit in place. Now, what I have to do is when I get this out, I have to desolder this connection right here, all these little pins, and then put that connector on this bottom row. Should line up according to everything I've seen on the interwebs. Pop it in, and we should, fingers crossed, be good to go. So let's disassemble this and see what we're working with. Here's the display removed from the deck there. These little cutouts for the screw access. At first, I thought it was broken, like the plastic or glass, whatever this is. But when I kind of pushed down and got that little backing out the way, yeah, they looked like they were milled out for that purpose of accessing these two screws that came out. Underneath it, you get these little tabs right here that need to be twisted, and hopefully it'll pop out. I got to get this connector cable off so we can desolder this part here and put it on the new board. So hopefully after I get these tabs straightened out, after the two screws came out, it should hopefully slide back out this way. It should. Fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. Got my soldering station set up. Got the board, my Cthulhu 8000 circuit board holder. I guess I'll do like a time lapse on getting this guy out. If you don't see it, that's because I probably got a phone call or a text from work because I am on call. And since I use my cell phone to video everything, yeah, there's a good chance it could get cut out. But I'll try. Either way, you'll see the end result. And sure enough, as soon as I started recording me trying to desolder this, my phone started ringing off the hook. So that footage is gone. Basically, trying to use a solder wick. And, I wicked up as much as let me get a little closer in here. Sorry. I don't know if it'll pick it up. As much as the solder as I could without, I really didn't want to damage those traces just in case that display didn't work and I would have to go back to using this. I would apply heat and use, flat blade and kind of put this in between here, after all the solder was wicked up and try and pry it up. But all I'm doing is bending these pins back. So what I may do is go ahead and take these out of the little holder here, depin these, and then solder them directly to the board of the new display. I hate to do that. I'm debating or not whether to go on a quest and find a replacement, maybe Mauser or DigiKey will have this little insert there, a little, the little plug. Don't even know what they're really called, but I don't know. I hate to ruin the one that I know works and take a gamble on, AliExpress, which theoretically should, but come on, whatever. Well, shit. This is a new one. Look at this. The display just fell right off. I was taking it off of the Cthulhu 8000 holder here and just moving it around, and I heard a thump, looked down, and I thought this was like a protective lens, but no, this is the entire LCD. There is no solder or connectors that I can see. I don't know if this is pressed on here and they just kind of hope for the best. But yeah, that's no good. So I guess I have really nothing to lose by desoldering this, or I don't know, cutting this up, going at it more aggressively. I try to do everything to keep heat away from any components, but I was focusing here, and I had it on a low temperature. Well, low enough, high enough to melt the solder, but low enough not to affect the traces or anything. Certainly not anything way down here that would affect these, but there is no residual solder on these little contacts here. I don't know if that's a normal practice. And there is nothing on the back here. This is very odd. Very odd indeed. I've never taken apart an LCD before, but oh well. Well, add to the mountain of things that maybe I should have checked before I started this. I put the display up against here and noticed I've got two extra little terminals here. Well, it could be one on each side. It could be two on this side. I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and research, the pages and things like that and articles that pointed me towards this particular display from AliExpress to see if there is a chart or something to correspond with what wire goes there. Because even if I put this in here, if I was able to get it successfully off of this board, there's no guarantee I would have it in the right position. One of these is going to be voltage to power this thing up. And if you put it on the wrong terminal, zap, there it goes. Oh boy. We'll figure it out. I guess, maybe. I was able to find the data sheets for the LCD controllers that are in the keyboard and the replacement one I got from AliExpress. You'll notice that they pretty much line up perfectly. It's when you get down to the bottom, pins 15 and 16, which are not on the DX7, well, those are for the backlight, which it doesn't have. That's why there's only 14 pins. Duh. Okay. Now, the WinStar, the brand that came from AliExpress, has 15 and 16, but they show no connection. I'm hoping this thing lights up. I hope that's like a little printing error or something. Who knows? Either way, what I'm going to have to do is jump pin 1 to pin 16 and pin 2 to pin 15 for the power for said backlight. So we're just going to see how it goes, given the way this whole project's been going. In hindsight, maybe we should have just plunked down the extra couple of bucks and got the pre-assembled and tested display that you can buy off of Reverb or Etsy, wherever they're selling these things. But I love a challenge, and I am a cheap bastard. So there you go, folks. Moving on to plan B, or is it like C or D now? It's still in the upper half of the alphabet. We're still pretty good. I got a pack of these angled headers here, and it comes in strips like this. So what I did was just break off 16 of them. They fit right in. And I test fitted the connector, the factory connector, and it fits perfectly. So all I have to do is solder this in the board and it'll make the jumpers from the positive and negative voltage over to here to hopefully illuminate the thing. And we'll see how this goes. So, all right, let's get to it. Got the jumper soldered in along with all these little pins. Also put a bead of hot glue along here to keep these guys insulated and also to keep these cables from touching each other and shorting out. So we'll just go ahead and, I guess, well, it might be easier to plug it in the correct way. I'm using the old one as a reference to make sure the little I guess, raised edges go up. I want to make sure pin 1 is on pin 1. Come on. There we go. Yeah, it fits pretty well. And let's see, I should just slide. I'm not going to screw anything down just yet. Okay, it's in here. It's kind of sort of lined up. There with screw holes. Let's fire it up. Okay, it works. Okay, the good news, it works. Bad news is it's not the color I wanted. I ordered a red one. That way it would kind of match this. But the green is not bad. Or greenish yellow kind of matches the keys. I can't imagine returning anything on AliExpress would be easy. So you know what? We'll take this loss. At least it's working. Did notice for some reason this segment of the LED is not working. Is it a glitch? 23. Well, then let's go to something that has at a 6. Yeah, 5, 6, 8 is now a 9. 10 is, yeah, it's just that one segment. Let me pause this and reseat and clean this connection. So I did unhook it at one point. I'll spray some deoxit in there, and I don't know, fingers crossed that, you know, that might be the issue. Oh, it never ends with this thing. Reseated and cleaned with some deoxit. Let's see if that did any good. No, it does not appear. Yeah, it's 10. It's 11. Yeah, it's 10. So, you know, let me try. I doubt this will have any impact on it. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. Nope. So, that being said, one of two things. Either this cable is not sending out the voltage to activate this segment, or this segment is bad. Could be a cold solder joint or something there. We'll take this little board out, and I'll get the data sheet and see which trace goes to this segment. If it's getting voltage, then we know the LED is bad, which is not an entirely bad thing, because these are, I say this, but I've replaced these before in other pieces. You can still get these in different colors too. So if I've got to replace it, I'll do the yellowish green like this guy here, and at least it'll match. And overall, it'll match the keyboard a little bit better, because there really is no red on here, save for the little pinkish store button up here, but most of it's green. I don't know why matching the colors makes that much of a difference, but, you know, in for a penny, in for a pound, or in for $100-something anyway. So whatever. Let me get on this guy here. And yeah, I mean, oh boy, this video is not getting any easier. Hope you guys are at least enjoying it. So there's that. Give me a like, a thumbs up, something. I never beg for subscriptions or ring the bells or thumbs up, but, you know, now's a time where a guy could use a little encouragement. So thank you. So it is the one little segment on this display that's out. I was able to trace the pins down to this cable right here, and use these little jumper cables here hooked up to a coin cell battery, a little 3-volt coin cell, and just went ahead and moved each, you know, little, it's hard to see, there's no light, move each little pin over until they all lit up, and traced it down. And this is not a common one or a common setup as I thought it would be. It's not hyper rare, but it uses a common anode, which is the positive is common, and then it switches grounding points or grounds to each leg. So I found some, well, hope is a suitable replacements on DigiKey that are the same yellowish green as the new display here. Well, under here, yeah. So hopefully that'll match. Hopefully they'll fit. Yeah, they're off by like a millimeter or two, but hopefully these pins are standard and standard sizing, and will go in. Fingers crossed. Another thing I noticed is that the cover for this piece right here had these little hooks that would fit into these little holes on the old display. New display, why would you have those? So we may have to bend these back or completely just cut them off. And what happens is when we get this thing running, put the bracket on top to lock it down, put a little bit of a 2A tape or, I don't know, hot glue, or probably 2A tape, a little strip of it here. This will hold it down. And then this whole assembly is kind of just held by pressure against the back here with these 3 screws. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm just now going to have to wait for a DigiKey to deliver my little segments and cross my fingers and hope that they work and fit and nothing else breaks. I was able to get the old displays off without any problem. I mean, I thought after the debacle of trying to unsolder these headers that were not coming out, this would be equally as frustrating. But no, they came out really well, really easily. So, according to my tracking, the new displays are out for delivery today. Of course, with the post office, that doesn't mean anything. It could be next week before I get them. But anyway, these are ready to go. Just waiting on the post office. Got the new LEDs in. They're a little bit smaller than the original. I mean, not by much, but let's see a good comparison. But just enough. But the pins fit. I just had to kind of spread them out a little bit. These are, you just, they don't make these anymore. I hate to use the word unobtainium. I just hate that word. But that's what they are. So these are soldered in. Let's plug it into the main board. Okay, it's in there. Let's get, actually we can, well, we might have it standalone. Try and get it in the shot here with the display. Fingers crossed, y'all. Oh, that's nice. 28. Let's see. At least that bottom left one is working. And let's go for 6. 6 works. Let's do 18. 18 works. 30. 30 works. Okay, the displays are working. The color, it doesn't come across very well, maybe because this is uncovered. This is almost a perfect match. Maybe it's the angle of it, but off camera, they look a lot alike. I mean, it's that yellowish, greenish yellow, I would say. It's more green yellow than yellow green. I don't know. 6 of one, half dozen of the other, as they say. But it's working. While it's working for the next 5 minutes, let's get this thing back together and assembled and see if it makes sound. What the hell? DX7's nice, upgraded, and put back together. And these sounds are really good on the SuperMax. I'm going to just give you a couple of quick demonstrations. I really like the arpeggiators here. It's kind of simple, but it's cool. It's like a nice little function that's added. And there are a ton of different little functions on this thing. I mean, the arpeggiator for one, and I think I got delays built in, and also you have the stack mode where you can stack voices. Of course, every time you stack, you lose a little polyphony there. Course mode, you can adjust it. You can detune the stacked Rolling mode, I think this is actually leads into, yeah, sound creator where you can morph sounds together. There are a ton of features and unfortunately not a lot of documentation on this. This is the first SoundMax upgrade. It was done like, I think originally the late 80s, early 90s. They have since come out with a SoundMax Plus. It was a little bit more expensive, but all it did was, I think, remove some of the bugs and move the battery, the CMOS battery, onto that board itself to make it easy to change out. I think I can use that manual maybe as a guide for the regular SoundMax. I'm going to have to play around with it. Like I said, it's going to be a hell of a learning curve, but I'm going to deep dive into this. But the whole thing with this guy is that we got it upgraded. New display, new numerical display, which was kind of like an added bonus because I really, really like the way it looks. The more I see it, let me get this back on the numbers. The more I really like the color combination that goes with the buttons. You have the red, and people opt for like different colors here, and there's really no red except for this. So this kind of greenish light green, it works. I like it, and the more I see it, the more I like it. So there you go. That was a happy accident there. So all in all, it wasn't that difficult to upgrade. Had I, if I had to do it again, I would probably buy the pre-made display board that has. Let me tilt this up a little bit and get my mic situated. So I would buy the pre-made board, so you wouldn't have to go through all the soldering. But you roll a dice with AliExpress, get some jumpers. It can be done. And these little guys here, they're I got them from DigiKey. Maybe I'll put a part number in the description in case you guys want to change them out, because apparently they're hard to find. Like I said, these are a little bit smaller. You have to spread the pins out a bit. They sit a little higher because of that, but they work. They look good. And we'll stick a fork in this one and call it done. Still on a hunt for replacement stickers for the top here and back where all the paint is just gone. And yeah, that's another thing, but whatever. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you for sticking it out, watching the videos, and anyway, you guys take it easy.